gonna kind of shift gears now and get into that Obama first 100 days thing. And the thing that you wrote, this op-ed thing on the closing of Guantanamo. So I'm going to ask you about how you feel about the executive orders to close down Guantanamo and the use of torture, and your opinion on accountability for those responsible for torture and other abusive policies. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. As you know, recently the International Red Cross report was leaked or somehow got to the New York Times book review. Now everyone gets to read it. Within the last working week, Barack Obama released some torture memos. A lot of it is redacted, but you can still read enough of it to know that we did torture, well, whether you want to call it that or not. He's also wanted to close down Guantanamo. What do you think is Barack Obama's, the Obama administration's responsibility to accountability? Should we be hauling people like Bybee and Addington down to the dock and having a word? Should we put this behind us? The world is watching us. The world is watching what we're going to do very closely. When Barack Obama says we're moving ahead, you'll see both sides of that on the internet. People going, well, wait, it's a war crime. A crime is a crime is a crime is a crime. Come on now. I think the world is waiting to see what America is going to do. What do you think about all of this?
Well, I mean, it's interesting. First of all, in the first, Obama's first 5 days in office, with some of the idea to close Guantanamo and that we're not going to torture anymore. I haven't heard a president say two things in a row that I've agreed with in my lifetime. Right. So there's, Guantanamo is still not closed, is my understanding. Yeah. So but with regards to torture, I mean, torture is amoral and barbaric. Period. It is also illegal. It is a crime. The people who committed torture, the people who ordered torture to be committed, should be held accountable. I was reading some just evil article in the New York Times yesterday, where one of the arguments was being put forward by the Obama administration was that it was proved that this torture was not effective. What does that have to? I mean, well, maybe they should have rammed a hot poker up someone's ass. And they would have given it. Torture is right or it's wrong. Torture is absolutely wrong, and the people responsible for it should be held accountable if there's going to be any moral credibility. Now, I don't know that. We'll see if this administration is interested in being morally credible and holding those sons of bitches, responsible who have done the torturing. But sort of this idea, when it gets to the point of mincing words of how effective is torture? I mean, maybe it would have been more effective if we beheaded the mothers of the people.
I think that's how they got around the whole issue. Because if you do any reading about Addington and John Yoo and how they'll tell you that none of this was torture. Because we didn't torture because we wrote it out and said we didn't torture. That means we didn't torture. Taking a guy by a dog collar and slamming his head into the wall. Oh, but it was a wooden wall. No. You're giving the guy brain damage. You put him in a box with bugs. Oh, they weren't the stinging kind, but you told them they were. I mean, you crazy people. What are you doing?
If they claim that wasn't torture, then they probably wouldn't mind it being done to them or their family members.
Or they don't mind this stuff being declassified, but they are putting up quite a ruckus. And so, what do you think America's responsibility is to the rest of the world in accounting for what we've done to these people?
I mean, I think that we have the first responsibility we have is to ourselves. Who are we? We have been a nature of torturers, like medieval Tower of London shit going on. And I think if we're to get beyond it, and if we're to have any sort of moral standing, not just beyond our borders, but to be able to look at ourselves in the mirror, you have to hone up to it, and you have to hold those responsible. It's not okay just because there's because there's some disagreement about it. Maybe it's impolitic to put Rumsfeld, to send Rumsfeld to the gallows. That may not be politically expedient. Well, maybe right to do. And I think that's the kind of how would the world react to that? With it would put the cheers at the World Cup to shame. I think, but it's something that's more difficult to do, and that's where that's why. Well, I hope that the Obama administration is able to press out the boundaries of what is doable with regards to that, and they would gain the respect not only beyond the nation's borders, but we're a lot of people within the nation who have been so furious that we've been dragged through the mud like this over the last 8 years.
Right. The next few years coming up, what do you have planned as far as making your voice heard, things you want to do on behalf of human rights?
Well, and my activism is always tied with my music. Right. So via Axis of Justice with my new group, Street Sweeper Social Club, with the Night Watchman, and with upcoming Rage Against the Machine shows, the idea is that, first of all, to rock you silly with our music. And because I think that the first thing has to be the vehicle. No one wants to go to a college lecture. No one wants to see, just hollering about, injustice over something that doesn't kick ass. So the idea is first to make the art compelling. That's why I'm not in the Carpenters Union. I'm a guitar player. But secondly, to really tie that to grassroots issues. And I think that the issues at the forefront for me is the two issues domestically is poverty, and that poverty is a crime. And that's something that needs to be addressed on two fronts. One is we need to do all we can to help the people who continue to fall through that safety net. And in order for to have a just country, it's got to be a country where there is greater economic equality. On the other hand, if poverty is a crime, who's the perpetrator of that crime? And what are the things within the system? What are the intrinsic things in the system that causes crime to happen? And really take a look at those and see what we can do to get our hands on the lever to make sure that we don't have 75,000 people 5 years from now homeless on the streets of Los Angeles.